Feature Friday.
The freshest.
Very cool. Usually, you know, we like checking out a lot of live stuff, and there's some singers, well, actually, there's many singers from the indie music industry that we're yet to discover, but one of them that we've never heard live is Neeti Mohan. We have heard some of her songs, like with Benny Dayal, and also we checked out that song. We've checked out a couple of compositions from her,
But this is
never live.
with AR as well.
Isn't that A.R Rahman like a pinnacle concert that he did? And you guys were asking that we check out this song called Lekha. So let's give it a watch. Apologies, that was really hard. If it's not Orepia, it's not a concert. Or Tumhijo.
How cool is that?
Timbales, look over there. Tablas.
It's the most 2000 sound ever.
I would pay so much money to watch this guy, man. An A.R Rahman concert.
Yeah. It's an experience though.
Whoa.
Oh, goddamn! That's one hell of an entrance.
Just very pop.
Wow, cool.
God
Yes!
damn!
Ooh! She's fantastic!
How weird are those 808s in the background, or like that bass line?
Well, it's really strange because this gives me late 90s progressive music. Obviously, that's A.R Rahman's pinnacle sound if you think about it.
Experimental early 2000s.
Very late 90s, very early 2000s
But his
experimental.
first composition was when?
1992 officially. So yeah, he is the 90s kid, you know?
Literally, right?
Like,
That's why he
makes
brings
the
that
music of the
synthy
90s.
sound and the...
Yes, but those 808 sounds is the distorted bass lines that they include into to create more tension. So he's working on suspended notes on the bass line, but the vocals are working on on the original key of the track, which creates this whole like, oh, what the hell is happening?
I wonder what it must be like to be him. Like, how do you listen to music? Like,
yeah, great point.
You know, because like we might listen to music a certain way and we notice little things and bits and bobs. But like for him, it's same as like an architect, like an architect. When they walk, or like, you know, our father, for example, who like he's an engineer, and it's like when he walks into places,
he sees things differently.
yeah, and like structurally, and like especially like because he's civil, right? Or like some of his friends that were architects and stuff, when they walk into houses and they walk past neighborhoods, they like notice things. And they maybe not even say anything. They just sort of notice it and then they just keep driving or whatever.
Yeah,
and if
that's
you ask
right.
them because you're a kid, you're like, wow, I really like that home. And then they start going on about, oh, well, they presume they kind of did. And so I wonder for AR if that's what it's like existing.
Yeah, probably.
You know, it's like when I watch
the-
tennis, or if or maybe whatever you're an expert, maybe it's a martial arts, maybe it's I don't know, the tabla, or maybe it's Indian classical. When you listen to it, you see things that the normal eye cannot see, or
Correct.
you hear things that the untrained ear cannot. It must be bizarre with his brain.
I think it would be interesting to have to hear a conversation of him and how the creative processes are,
He did one with a YouTube channel. I forget the name of him.
because there's a lot of I think there's a lot of mental processes that go on before even, I don't know, even before the birth of a composition.
And then
you know
imagine
what I mean?
Nettie, like imagine AR calls you and it's like, hey, I want you to sing this song, right? And then
This is
she's
the
like,
sound I have envisioned.
oh fuck.
Exactly.
This
How do you
guy-
translate that? It's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Go on, so far so good. Damn.
She's incredible though, I'm not gonna lie to you.
Dolak.
Bro, this is the music I grew up listening to without even knowing that this existed. Yeah. You go, girl.
I always get nervous when I see women on heels going downstairs.
Ooh.
Wow.
vocal mannerisms are so incredibly hers that even though the song has a very Western approach to music overall, actually there was a moment there where I thought she was speaking in French. Because like when you think about it, this style of music, it's very much Western, like that progressive alternative music that was so present in the early 2000s, late 90s. But in this particular case, because she I think it's Hindi again. Please forgive my ignorance. I presume it is. The utilization of the diction actually clashes with the approaches of singing and her techniques, because I not very often you hear, again presumption, Hindi or an Indian language being sang in such a Western way.
I see what you mean.
So I feel like there must be some physical clashes there, because we've spoken about this previously in other videos before in our whole discovery of Indian music, that the approach to singing in India is actually quite diverse from the Western approach that I grew up learning. So I think this is East meets West moment in the singing phrases. So I'm actually quite baffled to understand how she's making her voice be so breathy and straight in the tonality, but at the same time maintains a lot of the diction elements and mannerisms from the Indian languages as well. And I'm like, what is happening? My brain is totally confused, and it's awesome.
Yeah, she certainly also has like elements of like really good early 2000s pop or late 90s pop. Like she has that type of like elements to her. Even like her personality on stage is a bit like that as well.
It's mysterious, and he has this whole idea of like a velvetyness and allure.
And you might say like, obviously East meets West, it's like music is music, right? And it knows no limits, but it's just really intriguing.
From a technical perspective though.
Well, yeah, it's just really intriguing that the more you sort of go in depth and you travel parts of the world, you become more alike than you are unlike each other. You are different. However, there are pinnacle differences and there are really noticeable changes and uniqueness that has to be highlighted, because to ears like ours that grow up in a specific kind of environment of music, which is what most people would call Western, when you do travel to the East or you listen to music from South Asia, for example, or Southeast Asia, it's completely different, and it's so vastly different that it really does make you wonder, how do you even come up with that?
That's
right. That's just how they do it. You know what I mean?
And again, I feel like it's such a beautiful experience to get to like, I don't know, dive so deep into
there are these kids.
Another.
There are these kids that they would review music. I think the channel's called like Tri-Fate or something. And they would do like reviews of music and stuff. And now they're traveling to India, and they go in and they like, shout out to them. That's so beautiful to see that they're taking the time to really acknowledge the culture and learn from it, and they're like staying in these like dodgy ass looking hotels, and and they're traveling all over Europe as well. And I think now they're in I think it's India, Bangalore or something like that. But they're wonderful lads. I think it's just like, I don't know, 18-year-old kids, 19-year-old.
That's amazing.
But they're super charismatic and nice, and they're trying little things, and they're trying to see that firsthand, because I think they've become sort of interested in the indie music industry, I guess, and now they sort of want to see the culture.
The culture firsthand.
Certainly something we'd like to do.
Definitely.
I'll take that idea from them. That is a bloody good idea. Anyways,
I would think so too. Yes. Wow.
Good mixing, eh? What the fuck?
Fantastic blend of vocals. You see, that's so Western.
But that's our breathiness.
But you see that those are the things that I'm trying to highlight here.
There's a Western run in Hindi.
With like Indian classical influences.
It's really bizarre,
which is so weird. Technically speaking, it shouldn't work.
I don't know what she's trained in, or maybe what her background is, but regardless, that it would sort of be
So
things to be exposed to.
if you pay attention, technically speaking, there's a position here. So you're seeing a really high lifted soft palate and a really concaved bottom of the tongue, right? No. It's actually creating this slide effect. So you're to create that effect with your tongue, you want to push the tip of your tongue towards the bottom, behind your bottom teeth, and then like the sides of your tongue to touch the top of your molars at the back. So relax the tip of the tongue. That's right, and then try to touch the sides of your tongue to your molars, and then you create this slide effect that you're seeing here. So beautifully done. It's just so open. It creates such great resonance in the back of the soft palate. It's what a lot of people call sending the notes towards the back of the head.
Yeah,
That's what it looks like.
I think I'll stick to drums.
That's pretty good, yes. And you see how lifted
right.
the soft palate is in the back?
Space.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's so resonant, and she doesn't even have to try to push any extra air to create constriction. It's actually a clear note. Allows you to be a little bit breathy if you wanted to, like she's doing here.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And then here too. You see, that is so peculiar. She's awesome.
She's amazing.
Yeah, imagine how euphoric it must feel to be sitting there.
I like her a lot, dude.
I like her too.
This video's great, dude.
Yes. I love that all the vocals are live at the moment too. How brilliant is that? That is brilliant!
You see that last.
Such a Western.
Exactly, those last takes. Again, I hate kind of separating both, but it is, technically speaking, that would be the most accurate way
Classical
of
Western singing.
Yeah, that's very, to a certain extent, yeah, classical operatic sort of approach to things.
Correct.
And very rarely do you see Indian singers take part in operatic approaches to singing, when they also do have such a good foundational base with Hindustani or Carnatic classical. There's no need really to
Correct.
have to do both. If you do one or the other, you'll be fine. So it's really
But I do
unique.
think that if you're exposed to either one, the Carnatic,
Probably
or,
end up mixing them to some extent, right?
yeah, you also allow yourself to understand the approach of Western classical operatic singing way easier.
But that was very put that section again. Technically speaking, no. The typical
It's
anchoring of
so
things.
brilliantly played.
That's one of the best things we've seen on the channel, I think.
I think so too.
What the fuck?
Well, then again, I think anything AR composition, it's one of those things that you need to take your time to digest them from a musical perspective, from a singing perspective, because whoever he picks to embody those songs that he composes,
He really had them.
he has them
clearly.
envisioned in his mind before they come into the studio. I feel like the artists allow themselves to be guided openly, and this is the brilliant things that come out of that. Again,
There's a few podcasts obviously we have to do. One of them that I'd love to do would be like live Indian music. That would be, I think that'll be a great podcast of checking out some of our favorite singers or new singers live, raw in the moment. So that I think that's a good idea for a podcast. I think that probably the next one we'll do next week. I think we have Korean pop, but the week after, I think we're gonna do Nepalese.
Ooh.
And then after that, yeah, it's just up to you guys after that. But it's just we have those two kind of booked. But yeah, let us know what you guys thought about it. Thank you so much for these wonderful recommendations. And we will see you tomorrow.